You're listening to the Cryptid Creature Show. If you're a fan of the show, go and check out our Patreon site. You'll get access to our private Discord server, exclusive merchandise, access to all live streams and Q&As, discounts on merch from the Cryptid Creature store, and get a chance to be a guest host during one of the show's recordings. Just go to patreon.com/Cryptid Creatures. Thank you for listening and supporting the show.
About the middle of the path to the left was the cave, and I wrecked the bicycle, and it kind of hurt a little bit. I sat there for a while trying to gain my composure. All of a sudden, I smelled like urine, feces, and skunk all together. But I heard these heavy footsteps, and then I saw these two big feet, and I'm like, what is a gorilla doing in here? I looked up, and I saw the Sasquatch.
This is the Cryptid Creature Show. I am Brian, and with me as always my co-host Todd. What's up, buddy?
Man, I was checking out that article you sent me. You emailed me yesterday about the
the Ohio encounters.
Multiple Bigfoot sightings in, was it Northeast Ohio, right?
Yeah.
You know,
right up around Cleveland.
Yeah, there's a lot of wooded area people don't realize in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I keep thinking about this too, you know, there's all those cave systems over there and all those woods. You got Salt Fork and all that stuff. Youngstown is over there where Matt saw the dog man, you know. But if these creatures are in areas where they're unharmed and untouched, they're going to keep multiplying. And sooner or later,
for sure,
it's going to get to a point, unless the government's regulating population control on these creatures, it's going to get to a point where more people are just going to see them, and it's like going to be like, okay, look, you know, just like the alien thing, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I think we're getting closer and closer to it.
I do too, but we'll see. But yeah, that's a hot spot over there for sure.
That it is.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to some of our Patreon members tonight. I want to say hey to Robin Brown, Tim W., Nathan Greathouse, Ty Thorpe, Jennifer Lohman and husband. We got to get them back on as a guest host.
Yeah, we do.
Jennifer, if you're listening, send us an email, reach out to us. Mystic Davis, Toby Wynn, Lee White. Hey, Lee's got Geek Mountain. He comes on as a guest host too. And Rustin Davis. Yeah. You guys, thanks so much for being Patreon members. We appreciate you guys as much as possible. If you guys are really into the show and you'd like to get the show early release and ad free, you can join our Patreon and you can get those that way, and a lot more content as well. So just check us out at Patreon/Cryptid Creatures. Is that right, Brian?
That's right.
All right. Tonight's guest is Tim. And Tim's down there in Tennessee. Tim had a very close Bigfoot encounter. And then he had some other crazy things going on, and some things involving some paranormal stuff. So we're going to see what kind of...
We like the paranormal.
We do. See what kind of cool stuff he's got to tell us about. So if you're ready, shall we bring him on?
Yep, let's get him.
Tim, thanks for being on the show with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We know that you're down there in Tennessee. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Murfreesboro.
Okay. And you had a very close Bigfoot encounter. You're also a paranormal researcher, and you had a death and back experience as well, you told me.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Why don't you just take us into, let's start with a Bigfoot encounter, and we'll go from there. How's that?
Yeah, it was we had a little hill that we went up to and rode our dirt bikes on. Had a lot of rocky paths. It was kind of fun back then. Today it'd break my bones. But I was probably about 13, I guess, on my dirt bike. I went out there and did a lot of meditating, went to the cave down there and just, you know, exploring like we always did in the 80s. We weren't on computers all the time back then. And I was going down about the middle of the path. To the left was the cave. And I wrecked the bicycle, and it kind of hurt a little bit. So I sat there for a while trying to gain my composure. And all of a sudden, I smelt like urine, feces, and skunk all together. And I didn't know what it was, but I heard these heavy footsteps. And I was looking down at the moment, and then I saw these two big feet. And I'm like, what is a gorilla doing in here? I looked up, and I saw the Sasquatch. And I was scared, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it was at first. So I kept my eyes to the ground because of National Geographic talking about don't ever stare a animal in the eyes. And so I kept my eyes on the ground, hoping this thing wouldn't eat me. Next thing you know, it picked up my bike and it kind of put it to the side of the path. And then I heard it walking away. Now, when this thing came, the birds stopped chirping. There were no animals. All you could hear was the wind. And he walked away, and I thought, the first thing I thought was, I got to get the hell out of here. So I got on the bike, and I ran back down to the path to the road, and I got out of there. I didn't go back for about 3 months. But I think he was worried about me more than he was trying to protect his territory. If it was a male, I don't know if it was a male or female. I didn't look at it up too close because I was afraid at the moment. But since then, I've been back up there several times trying to find him because I was going to try to communicate with him, see if he'd be friendly, But that's what happened with Bigfoot. I hate calling him Bigfoot. I like calling him Sasquatch.
All right. What color was...
My family's Native American.
What color was he?
He was kind of like a brown and black. From what I saw, kind of brown and black. It could be. He didn't look like he had a shower for 3 days or maybe more than that.
Or ever, maybe?
Ever.
Did you tell anybody after that?
Oh, I told my friends and everything, and my friends went up there for the next few months. I didn't go back for about 3 months, and then we would just go down the hill real fast on our bikes. But I've heard, I went up there with my CB radio because you go up the hill, you can get out further, and I went up there and talked a lot, and I've heard stuff, and I mean, when he started running now, when he ran through there, you could hear the trees breaking. And I don't understand where he would have went or why he would be there because there is a subdivision right on the other side, about a mile. And, I mean, there's woods all around there, but I've heard a story about a little boy that, he was, see, this is where the stuttering comes, but he was messing in Woodbury, Tennessee, which is really rural. And he was messing for 3 or 4 days, and they had people out in the field around Short Mountain trying to find him one day, and he came walking out of the woods, and he told his father that the hairy people were taking care of him. He was like 5, 6 years old. He said, the hairy people were taking care of me. The hairy people were feeding me.
Wow.
And from what I read, it was like he had eaten like a squirrel or something, a little furry creature, and it sounded like he had eaten squirrel, and I don't think they cooked it.
Yeah, I don't think they would have either.
He said they was playing with the little furry people, and I suppose that they had children, probably a family of them.
Did your encounter happen right there where you're at now?
My encounter happened here in Murfreesboro, where I'm at, just a few miles down the road, actually, from where I am right now. But the other one was in Woodbury, Tennessee. It's down further, and that's where we used to go when I was in high school. We used to go up there, and I had a leather jacket, had a long hair and earring in, and we used to go up there, and And we used to go up there just to make the rednecks mad at us. Now I'm not like that. But we used to go up there and fight and play around and everything. Now I see those guys and they think it was fun back then. I thought it was kind of fun too. I was bench pressing 350 pounds back then. But I didn't like fighting really. We just like to pick fun at each other and now we're all friends. The ones of us that are still here.
So I didn't know you had another encounter. What happened in that one?
Is that with in 2000, I had a heart attack, and I was in a hotel in Lebanon, Tennessee back then. Me and my ex-wife, my ex-wife was running from the police back then, and we had to be on the run like that. My mother was with us, and she was in one bed. Me and my ex-wife were in the other bed, and I just felt the pain in my back. It was actually in my back and my chest, and I thought something's wrong here. So I went and tried to relieve myself, if you know what I mean. And next thing you know, I just started breaking out in a cold sweat, and I thought, this is what my granddaddy used to say happens when you have a heart attack. And so I went ahead and called the ambulance. My ex-wife was sitting there saying, "Don't do that. You don't need to go to the hospital. Go to sleep and shut up." Well, I had been drinking a little beer back then. And so I called the ambulance, and I ran to the ambulance when the paramedics got there. And I jumped up in the back, and I got on the stretcher. I guess it's a stretcher. And they told me to hold still so they could check me, because I told them I was having a heart attack. And they checked me and poked me and just checking to see if they could find a pulse or a heartbeat, and they said they couldn't. I was like, "Go ahead and get that thing started back. I don't want to die." And the thing about it is, I couldn't understand how I could be talking if I didn't have a heartbeat and I didn't have a pulse. So I sat there for a minute, or I laid there for a minute, waited, and the next thing you know, they picked up the paddles, and they were about to shot me. And he said, "This is going to hurt because you're awake." And I said, "Go ahead and do it. I don't want to never wake up." And he was about to get me. He was about to shot me. And the next thing you know, the other guy said, "I have a heartbeat and I have a pulse now." And the next thing you know, I passed out. So I was. It's a ball that just kind of came over me, and I could see it. I didn't see my body. I didn't see the paramedics. I didn't see from afar or nothing. I just saw this light. It was like so many colors, some colors I had never seen. And it enveloped my body, and in a split second, I was on grass. I wasn't in the ambulance anymore. And the grass was greener than any grass I've ever seen on earth. The sky was bluer, and there were animals to the left, and there was a big waterfall that came from a big tall mountain. Would have probably took 3 years to even walk up, and there was a little rock path up there, and going up towards the mountain. And that's the only gold I ever saw was coming from that big waterfall from way up on the mountain. And the mountain was bright too. It was probably the source of all the light. And so after a while, these other people started coming, and I could see them, and they could see me, but we were energy. We didn't have any flesh. And they spoke a different language, and I found out that I could understand them, and I was speaking a different language. And the thing about it is, I felt like I was home. There weren't any houses, any mansions or nothing. It was just nature all there, and it was beautiful trees, and it's like people talking about the lion laying with the lamb. I saw lions there. I saw cats, dogs, and they were all in one area. and people were coming from the other side, and I don't even know who I was speaking to. I could have talked to Jesus himself, and I don't even know it, because they told me before they sent me back that I would not remember anything but the place. And I don't even know if I asked them where I was, because it wasn't heaven. It was like a resting place. And I remember they took me around and they were showing me things. I don't remember much about anything but the area that I started off in, but that's weird, because I thought I did. But it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful place. And then they told me that I wasn't supposed to preach, because I was preaching before this. I was preaching the day I died. And they told me that I wasn't called to preach, that I was called to testify on that place. And it said it would be a while. I remember he said it would be a while, but when it happens, I need to tell people about that place. So it was like 2 minutes. Or 1 minute. Well, it was about 2 minutes. I think he said, Dr. Luhu said I was dead for 2 minutes, and he. See, my brain gets jumbled up a little bit, but the guy I was talking to was taking me around, and it was 2 minutes, and it felt like it was more like 2 months. And all of a sudden, the light came back down over me when they were sending me back, and it was like a split second again. And I was in a hospital room. So I started hearing voices, and they all came at the same time. And I don't know, 10, 15, 20 people around me, and all asking questions like, I need you to do something for me. I need you to call my children. I need you to call my wife. And I looked up and I saw all these people around the bed, and I'm like, where am I? What's going on here? What do you want? And there was a nurse in the corner reading a book that was sitting there to make sure that I came out of it. And she got up. She said, "Don't be afraid, honey. You know, these are ghosts." And I said, "Why are they all talking like this? And why are they asking me to do things?" And she said that she told me that she had had a car accident a few years before, and she can see them too. And she actually got onto one for getting too close to me and scaring me out of my wits. He got right in my face. I remember he said, "I need your help." I remember that. And she told me just to calm down and just try to get my bearings and everything. And she said, "You've had a heart attack and you were dead for 2 minutes." And she told me that these ghosts knew that I had been dead, and I can see them, and that I was their only hope to speak to their families. So it got so bad that I started drinking. I even put myself in a mental institution right after I got out of that hospital in Lebanon. Or, well, I was in Lebanon when it happened. I ended up at a place called Centennial in Nashville because I couldn't do the MRI or the little things they put you into. And so my mother took me to Centennial Hospital, where Dr. Luhu went and did the angioplasty on me. And I wish they had done that in the last operation, because I had 20 staples down there in the last operation just a few weeks ago. But after that, after I left Nashville, I told my mother to take me to the Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institution. And I said, "I won't be there long. I just need some help, Mom." I said, "Something's wrong with my brain." And so she and my wife, and I had my two sons with me at the time. We ended up at the Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institution, and I went in and checked myself in and sat there all day. Well, the next day, I talked to an Arabic doctor, a very good doctor, and he asked me what the problem was, and I told him that I kept hearing and seeing things that aren't there. So he said, well, tell me what you're hearing and seeing right now. And there was a little lady that was behind him in like a cloth or something. She had a cloth over her head, and she was telling me things about his childhood, but I didn't know it at the time. It was his childhood. So I told him what she was saying, and he started filling out papers. And after he got through filling out the papers, he said, you're free to go today when you can get your ride.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
I'm like, I need help, sir. He said, sir, you just told me everything that happened in my childhood, what my mother would only known. And the woman you were seeing was my mother. He said, I'm a believer. And I found out that he was a Muslim, but he has changed to Christian now. So I went home and I started drinking real bad, because if you drink 1 quart of beer, usually you can get rid of all the ghosts for like 3 or 4 days. You know, if you drink more than that, you can get rid of them for a while. But I was we were homeless at the time, so I was living with a friend that lived right beside the Stones River National Battlefield over here, and there was a guy that kept coming in and talking to me when I was trying to sleep, and it bugged my ex-wife pretty bad. So he kept telling me that he needs me to call his wife, and he told me her name was Mildred. So I kept ignoring him for a few days. Well, finally, I started talking to him one night. I said, okay, just tell me what the number is, what you want me to call, and I'll call it. And I told him to tell me what he wanted me to tell her. So I kept trying to get it out of him, and you know, I couldn't hear him very good, and he was in the dark. I could only see his eyes. So he kept telling me what he wanted me to say, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. My wife was yelling at me at the time, but I kept the light on and listened to him anyway. And so the next day I called her, and I told her, I said, ma'am, this is going to sound pretty strange, but there's a man that's talking to me that just won't leave me alone, and I haven't had sleep in days. And she, when I told her exactly what he said on the paper, she said, honey, that's my husband. He was a truck driver, and he died in Tennessee in a truck accident years ago. And she said, you're not the first to tell me. And she asked me, was I a psychic? I said, no, ma'am, I'm not a psychic, and I don't like what's going on. And I thought it was a curse at first. But it wasn't until I joined the Spirit Crew in 2006 that it was the Society of Paranormal Investigations and Research in Tennessee. So I told the guy that I don't want to mention his name. He's gone now. He's passed away too. But I told him about my abilities, and he wanted me on the team. And we went to the Floyd County Prison in Rome, Georgia one time for a ghost hunt, which I don't like ghost hunts. I mean, it's fun and everything, but I'm an investigator. So we went to the Floyd County Prison in Rome, Georgia, and I got choked by something that wasn't there. I couldn't see this. Now, they can hide from me if they want to. And I got choked, and I asked the guy next to me to take a picture of it, and you could see the big finger marks on there. And there was a big Native American. He was like 7 foot tall. He had red hair. They called him Big Red. That was there for a crime he didn't commit. And years later they found out that he didn't do it, and he ended up dying in that prison. And that's who I tried to connect with mostly, because it's like when we went to the Bell Witch plantation, we went to the cave, and I found out the Bell Witch wasn't a witch after all. It was a Native American spirit that saw what John Bell was doing. And anyway, I was looking for Big Red, and I felt his presence, but I didn't see him. And it was like when we were leaving, both the guys from both the paranormal investigations organizations went to sleep that night. I was up with the guy from WGNS. He's a radio announcer on WGNS. He came with us because I asked him to, and we were awake, and we were helping a lady that was sick, and we finally found a way out of prison. We made a prison break that night, but anyway, when we finally left there, we were in the back of the car, and I looked back, and I saw a Native American, and I could tell he had long hair, but I couldn't tell if it was red. And he gave me this look like, "Don't ever come back here again." And that was about the last time I was with the Spirit Crew, because the founder started a haunted house here in Murfreesboro for that Halloween, and I didn't want to get paid, but everybody else did, and I didn't want any grief, so I quit the team, and I got away from him as fast as I could. But I've seen for instance, I had a lady come from here, from Germany, to see me back in 2004, before all this. And I had a friend that wanted me to go to his house on Main Street, which is right down from the Junior Food Land here in Murfreesboro. Everybody would probably know where it is. I can't remember what the house number was, but I know the house very well. And this lady was telling me that she could still smell her husband's cologne, and her husband had been dead for like 11 years, I think. And she still sees things that shouldn't be happening, and she wanted me to check it out. So Aline went with me, for the lady from Germany, and I went in, and I could smell like a brood or something too. And she smelt it, and we got a few EVPs, and we went into the library, which the lady told us that her husband did not like anyone in his library. And I went into the library, and I was over by a desk, and one of the books flew about 10 feet away from me and hit me in the shoulder. Didn't hurt, but it scared this lady off. She never did come back to marry me like she was supposed to. But I've had a lot of stuff happen. And like I said, at first I thought it was a curse. And so about 2015, I just went to bed and I asked God, if it's a curse, take it from me. And the next thing you know, it was like 2016, I was at a gas station, and I could smell dried beer on the pavement, and I got sick, and I thought, wait a minute, I haven't drank in a year. And what's just weird is it's like I don't see them as much anymore after the strokes, but I live in the hood in an apartment complex. It's a high crime area. It's just like a about last week, I had a $500 CB radio base station that was stolen right here, and the cops won't even help me because they said I had to have a camera. And I do now have a camera. It's just weird. When we moved here, I started seeing people in my room, and they walked through the walls, and walk right up to the bed, and they'll just sit there and stare until I wake up. And like I said, I see them like seeing living people, which I shouldn't even say living because they're more alive than we are. But like I said, a few weeks ago, I had surgery. I had a blocked artery in my left leg, and I haven't felt my foot since June of last year. So I went to the hospital for the surgery, and I'm always scared when they put me under sedation. I thought it was going to be like when I had the heart attack. I thought he was going to put the catheter in and scrape the plaque out like that and put a stent in. And I was awake during that. And it didn't scare me. I had a good doctor that helped me. His name was Dr. Oluhu, Marcel Oluhu. And he was from the islands, actually. And but I was sitting there, and they called the anesthesiologist into the room, and I knew they were going to put me out. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't want this. I was already embarrassed that a lady was shaving me down there. And he put the mask over me. I knew what was going to happen. I said, I just hope this lasts a little less than a minute or whatever. I can't remember what I said, but I had him laughing a little bit. And I just knew I was going to die. I was scared to death. And before I went under, I looked, and my mother passed away in last December. And she had went to a nursing home for 5 days only to get her medicine straight, because one of the hospice nurses took her off her AFib medicine, and they put her in a bed. When she was in a bed, she felt like she was confined, and she acted like she had dementia when she was in the bed. But when we had her in her chair, in her recliner, she was just fine. And she was just like she was just a year ago, actually. And they sent her to the nursing home for 5 days, and she was going to come back that next Tuesday after they got her medicine straightened out. So they took her into the emergency room on the 4th, the evening of the 4th. That's the day I went to talk to the surgeon about my leg. And they took her about 5 o'clock that evening. And on the 5th, the morning of the 5th, one of the ladies at the nursing home called me and told me that she had died. But when they were putting me under, and my mother had an artificial leg that she lost in a car accident in 1974. And my mother, she was a good lady. I know where she is now. She, when I was going under, I looked over and I saw her walking, and I'm like, she has 2 legs, and I knew it was my mother. She looked like she used to look in the 70s when I was a child, and she had long, beautiful hair, and she was in a white, long gown. And I've never seen her wear a gown because of her artificial leg, of course. She worked at Samsonite for 23 years to support me and my sister. She was a single mother, but she knew that I was scared, and she looked down and told me I was going to be all right. And then I was out. I didn't know what was going on after that. And when I woke up, I remember saying, "Where's Jesus? Where's Jesus?" And the nurse that was there, she told me that I'm alive. She said, "You've been talking about your mother for a long time." So I believe that I may have spoken with my mother, and I can't remember while I was under. But that would be the first person that I've ever known in life that I could actually see. I can't get in touch with my grandfather or grandmother or anything. But I've been doing paranormal investigations since 2006. Before then, I used to do them for friends that are people that would ask me, because I always wore a paranormal investigator hat, and they would ask me at the store or whatever, and I would sometimes go to their house and everything, and got in trouble sometimes because the people thought they were possessed by demons, and I've never seen a demon or heard a demon in an investigation. In fact, most of my investigations come out negative for anything, but some are positive. And I made a choice back in 2015 to do this and to do it for free because it's a gift from God. When God healed me from the addiction to alcohol, to beer, I just gave it all to God, and I talked the ghost into I'm kind of a translator from the people, the living people, to the ghost. I'll tell the ghost what the living people want, and I'll tell the living people what the ghost want. And when they do what they both want, there's no haunting. And I have crossed some over, and that light that comes down is so beautiful, and it makes chills go up my back. But a lot of pastors and ministers and stuff that I used to work with, and I guess about 2007 or 2008 when I started Haunted Investigation of Tennessee, and that producer wanted me to go on television, and he called it a redneck reality paranormal television show. And I'm well, first of all, I'm not a redneck just because I live in Tennessee. And nothing wrong with rednecks, of course, but I'm just not that way. He told me to that we would start the show as kind of like ghost hunters, and then we would progress in the show. We'd be getting scared and jittery and everything, and making jokes. And he offered me a pretty good bit of money for each episode, and so I came home from Nashville, and I prayed and prayed and prayed for about 4 or 5 days, and God told me not to do it. He said, "Don't ever take money for this." So I didn't do it, and I lost my crew. My crew ended up going to the Stones River National Battlefield, to the slaughter pen, and they climbed the fence after 12 o'clock at midnight, and next thing you know, they called me at the jail and asked me to bail them out. But of course, I don't have the money for that because I'm on disability. But I get real emotional when I talk about my mother and some of this, because, like I said, I thought it was a curse for a long time. And then, I remember when I was there in that land, that they told me that I was called to testify on that place, not to preach. But I'd also want to say that Sasquatch is a living being creature created by God, and I don't think that they're there to harm people. I think they're our protectors. Of course, I'm Native American too, but I think they're there to protect us, and I think that one was worried about me, and he came to check on me. And I wouldn't pull a gun on any of them or any creature at all.
Well, Tim, we want to thank you for being on the show with us. That's incredible stuff that you got.
Yeah, that was.
Man.
So I'm a diabetic, and I only have like 27% of my heart left, and I've had they say over 11 strokes, and I'm still here, and I have a purpose, but I don't think it's only to testify on that place. I think there's something else I should be doing. But I'm scared right now because I quit dating in 2004 when the lady went back to Germany, and I haven't had a partner since then. I gave it all to God because I felt like I was supposed to. I felt like I've never felt so good in my life, really, to tell the truth, except for when I get sick like that.
Well, that's amazing, man, and that's great that you're doing that. You came back from death for a reason, and it's kind of hopeful for people like me. And now that you can interact with the ghosts and all that, or the spirits, I mean, it's really, really interesting.
I haven't seen none in a while, but I'm still grieving about my mother passing away in December. And I know she came and saw me in the hospital. I know that was her, but it still bothers me that she's not here that I could talk to. Because, I mean, I had her for 53 years, you know, and it still bothers me. I know she's in a better place, and it's selfish when we wish they were back because that's for our benefit. That's not for theirs. They don't want to leave that place. I didn't want to leave. I don't think she's in that place, though. I think she's up the mountain in heaven.
Well, I'm sure you'll get to see her when you finally get there.
I hope I make it.
I think that's God's plan for everybody.
I think you'll be just fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Tim.
Thanks.
Those are great stories. Thank you.
Yes, sir. If you could understand me, the brain damage got me.
No problem. All right, buddy. You have a good night then, and you take care of yourself. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man, that guy's been through a lot. Holy cow.
Man, you're not kidding. Jeez.
That's just so strange. And I've been watching those shows lately, too. I've been watching those Death and Back things on Tubi, you know, and hearing what people say. It's really interesting to hear, and you want to hope that it's true. You know, it seems more people less than not always go to these great lights and these great places. Once in a while, you get somebody say that.
Once in a while, you get the scary ones.
You know, but it's almost like they can redeem themselves and not end up there. I don't know, but
well, I mean that's how we're supposed to do it,
right? We'll find out one day. But
yeah,
it was cool having Tim on. I hope he takes care of himself and he's getting a little
me too.
healing action going on.
Seemed like a nice guy, so
yeah. All right, my friend. It was awesome hanging out with you as always, my brother.
Always fun, brother. Always learning.
All right, let's take off. You ready?
Yep. See ya.